crafty friends, it's Diane the Creative Inkster. Thanks for stopping by and joining me tonight to make a fun card. If you're out there watching live, leave me a note. Let me know you're there. And if you're watching the replay, please also comment. I'd love to know who's been watching and where you're from, and also what you think of the cards. So tonight's layout, kind of a simple one. We got our basic card, and we've got a couple of layers, and then some added little leftover pieces you might have in your stash, some embellishments for it. So let's get started. This one here is using up some of the Rustic Harvest paper that I have, and then these really cool leaves. Where is it? I'm just pulling it out here. I thought I had it close. Maybe I don't have it close at hand. They are these maple leaves with these beautiful gems that go with. I think I've set them aside because I want to make sure I use them in my card class in December. Alrighty, but we're going to use something different. I'm going to make two versions of this, and so I'm going to show you some other products. So this is my Night of Navy, typical size, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded. That's in the middle. And because I'm using a nice dark card base, I'm going to put a piece of white on the inside. Now, when I go to make cards and I've got two pieces of white, one because it's going to go on the outside and one's going to go on the inside, I have the forethought to make them exactly the same size. That way I can't goof it up. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. Let's get our glue out here. I think I'm down to using up the dregs of a couple of these glue sticks or Tombow liquid glues. Time to use them up. So get this guy on the inside. And then it's all set for me to put my greeting in when I'm ready to send the card out to somebody. For this layer here, like you'll see on the one that I made, I had a colored card base and a white emboss. I just reversed that. So to pull the colors together, I've used the Hive 3D embossing folder on some balmy blue, and I'm going to layer that onto a white and then onto the Night of Navy. That'll give it a really nice contrast of color. Still in the blues, but a nice contrast, so it pops up a little bit. All right, here we go. Let's get you in place. Some of our embossing folders, I find when you run them through, your paper might shrink top-wise, like lengthwise, versus width. Sometimes that happens. This is one of them that I find that seems to happen. So I might want to just trim off a little smidgen off the top. So I have my even border all the way around. And by a smidgen, I mean like a 1/16 of an inch. And by doing so, I have my nice even border once again. So this can go on. We're not wrapping any ribbon around it or anything, so we don't need to worry about not gluing it down because we want to tuck something behind. So let's just get this glued down in place. And it's nice to have one extra layer rather than just one layer on your card front. That extra bit just adds so much to your card. Adds a little bit of weight, but not enough to make it a problem here in Canada. For mailing, you can put a number of layers just fine. Now, these ones here, I've cut at 2.5 by 3, but on the other card, I'm going to show you how to change that up just a little bit. So often I'll have some pieces left over from a pattern. Actually, I guess they came from the same pattern. I'm just flipping one over. I just want to make sure that my leaves are going up that way and that this is kind of in the right orientation. And so just a small 2.5 by 3 inch piece. You can make it smaller or larger and use up your excess paper. Great way to use it up. So put one in the bottom left corner, still leaving a nice little bit of a border so that the embossing shows through, and then this one up here, just like that. Now, who's getting busy out there Christmas shopping? Funny how December 25th comes the same time every year, and yet we're scrambling to be ready for it. I did a lot of online shopping on the weekend to get some gifts for my family. It felt good to get that stuff done. Then on this one, I'm going to use this leaf and the greeting. So I'm going to do this one up a little bit differently. I'm going to kind of cover up where they meet in the middle, but I still want to see a lot of this really beautiful blue pattern because it's so pretty. And then I'm going to color my flower and put it there. So to do that, I need a stamp with some kind of greeting to put on here. I think I was going to go with the Celebrate. This is framed florets. It goes with this pattern paper, but goes with so many other things too. I'll grab a little block and let's see, I think I'm going to use the Night of Navy. Yes, that was the plan. Night of Navy ink pad for my greeting. I'll just tuck that guy out the way. And because I want to put the flower over on the left, I'm going to stamp my greeting a little more to the right. Not all the way. Leave a little bit of a border. I'll stamp that. And I'm going to grab some scratch paper to put underneath, because if you're working with Stampin' Blends, you will know that they bleed through the paper, and I don't want this to go on my nice clean white, so I'm going to start with the light soft succulent and color this guy in, and then I'll add some shading with the dark, and it's going to look amazing. This is such a beautiful color to do with this flower, and I don't think of flowers in this sort of a minty green color at all. I always think of them in brights, yellows, pinks, reds, that kind of thing. And here we go. It's just gonna blend so nicely. So when you're using your Stampin' Blends, the idea is to have it be still a little bit wet when you go to add the next color. So this is the same shade, only with what we call the dark. So it's just a little bit darker of the same tint. And then you can add some shading with this. Usually I just go over the veins, and I find that end's a little bit dried out. So here we go. I'll use the brush end this time. And I can add some extra shading on the veins of the card, of the petals. There we go. And I'm just kind of doing a little bit extra bit in here. I know you're watching. Are you there? You're going to let me know that you're watching? I miss you. Come on, guys. Join me here. All right, so this spray comes from the framed florets dies that match this one. And I ran it through with some white through my embossing machine, Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. And beforehand, though, I put a little bit of adhesive on the white so that I would get a little bit of a sticker going on here. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for popping in. What a crazy night. Cold out there, isn't it? And it's supposed to warm up, though. My coworker was saying it's going to warm up a little bit as the week goes on and be not quite so bitterly cold. Felt bad for those little kiddies at the Guelph Christmas or Santa Claus parade yesterday who were sitting out with their parents on the side of the road in the cold. They were brave souls waiting for Santa to come by. All right, here's my sticker now. It's got adhesive on the back. I'm going to try to kind of cover up some of this where it meets, and then the other piece I'm going to stick like this. I'm going to put this up on dimensionals, and then I will pop the pretty flower up that I have colored as well. It's a great way to use up scraps. I seem to say that a lot because I have a lot of scraps. You probably wonder, whatever does she use the regular on? But we do. We use it on cards and other things. So there we go. We need to add a little gem here, though. And I don't think I have the ones that go with this, the swirls, but I've got iridescent pearls, so they'll work just as well. A nice large pearl on here, and that'll just make it so pretty. So some people were asking me about a new catalog coming out, and that is absolutely true. We have a new catalog coming out in January, the January to April mini catalog, and it has some beautiful new products. One of them is the framed florets stamp set and bundle, actually. This one here. This was an early release. And I'll be getting my catalogs after December 1st, so I'll be ordering them on December 1st. If you would like a catalog, be sure to let me know. Send me a message. Don't put it in the chat here because I probably won't see that. Send me an email or send me a Facebook message, and I'll be sure to have you on my list of people to receive those when they come out. And let's see. I'm going to make a second card with this fun layout, but I cut the paper just a little bit different size. So the last ones were 2.5 by 3, and I had this pretty paper in a 2.25 by 3. So I thought, well, let's just do that. As long as they match, that's what kind of matters here. All right, so I have a couple of labels just in case I goof up. Here's my card base. This time I'm doing it so that it's more of a top opening card. So this is your half sheet of 11 inches by 4.25, scored at 5.5 and folded. So that creates our card base. We've got some paper to choose out of the pattern paper is how I decided which cardstocks I was going to use. So this is Garden Green and Fresh Freesia. So that's what I went with. I used my favorites embossing folder, which is Brick 3D. Love, love, love the look of this. I use it with flowers, with animals, with anything. I'm going to stick it on a piece of Garden Green. And that's just going to pull those colors out so nicely. Tuck that over a little bit so it's a little more centered. Although I'm sure if somebody looked at it, they wouldn't notice at all. There we go. That's the beauty of working with liquid glue, is if it's not positioned correctly, you can pick it up and move it over because it hasn't quite dried yet. All right, so the green is 4 by 5.25, and the embossed piece is 3.75 by 5. That's our layers moving in from the outside of the card base. And we'll glue this down because once again, we're not putting ribbon around it, and I'm not popping it up. I'm going to do all the popping up with my next bits of layers. But totally works in the mail with a regular Canadian stamp. There's a regular, I don't even know how much they are these days. I don't even want to ask. I'm afraid to ask because they keep going up in price every year. So it's whatever the standard is, $1 something. Okay, so this time I'm going to add a little bit more because they are a little bit smaller. They're 2.25 wide, so I'm going to add a little bit wider border for a different look. There we go. And then this piece, which is so pretty and complementary to these little flowers pieces. Well, the other sides would have worked well too because they had sort of lemons and then this striped piece, so that would work as well. Lots of choices. Okay. So now to cover up the center on this one instead, so where I did on my original card with the maple leaf die cut, is I've used a die cut circle, and this is a stitched one with stylish shapes. So that's going to hide the center. And then to build on that, I have the Cup of Tea stamp set and its coordinating dies, which I haven't used in months, so time to bring those out. This is the Fresh Freesia teacup, and then it has in the die set a teacup of the same size, only it makes a beautiful decorative look. So I am going to try to pull the pieces out here. And again, I ran it through, or I added adhesive sheet first before putting it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then that way, I have a sticker sheet. So I just have to get the edge started here, which is all that you need. There we go. And we'll pull these pieces off. That's all garbage over there. And every once in a while, just one little piece or two might be stuck in, so I'll grab my scratch paper and just push it down and have it stick on there. But look at how neat this is. This will go right on top of the full-size die cut of the teacup. Pretty neat. So instead of stamping, you can add this bit of layer on top of it. Hi, Vicki. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. And so this is going to go on here. I could emboss this too, but I didn't. And I'm going to just pop this up a little bit. But I want to add a little one of these layers. So it's like the tea bag. You know when you have a tea bag, it has a little tag on the edge of it. Mine all say Earl Grey. So we're going to, I probably have way too much. And this is only like, what is this? Oh, just over 4 inches. And I probably have too much. But I'm going to make a little loop, and this is going to kind of hang down here. How did I think I would do that? So it looks like it's coming out of the tea bag. I guess just like that. Yeah, so really I don't need much at all. Let's grab a glue dot to hold this down. That will work. So we'll put a little glue dot, mini glue dot on the back of the teacup, and we'll put this like this, and then just measure how much I need here, sort of eyeball it for the tea bag. There we go. So I'll probably have enough for 2. And then I want to do a little stamping on here. There's a couple of teeny tiny greetings that will fit on this little tea piece. I just can't thank you enough. It doesn't even look like it's big enough, but it does. It fits on there. I miss you. It's time for tea is too big. So I guess I just can't thank you enough is perfect. Let's go with that one. It's time for tea. No, that one doesn't fit. I just can't thank you enough. So we're going to do this in garden green, a color I don't use an awful lot. So let's pull that guy out. Oh, I'm going to take this one off. And I did 2 of these tags just in case I goofed it up, because that can happen on camera. I can't believe they got that many words on one little tag. I just can't thank you enough. Oh my goodness, it's pretty tiny. So we will glue this together. So we need to put a glue dot on the back of our little tea bag tag. Let's get that all the way. Oh, there they are. And we'll just glue that other end of the linen, the red, to it. Oh, there we go. And then I could have popped it up too. It's pretty popped up. Let's pop this piece up. I got a little bit left over here. A couple of little pieces of dimensional. So let's use those guys up. And then the regular sheet I have here. There we go. There we go. I'll pop this in the center. Circles are great because you can't put them on any way improperly because they'll work perfectly. And we'll pop this guy up too because it's a circle. You can just work around it. So when I put something on the back like this, I will put my dimensional over top. That just gives it a little bit more to hang on to back there and help hold it in place. I mean, you're going to put a dimensional on the back anyway. May as well put it where it can be well used. And we'll put this one kind of on the side. And within this, I just can't thank you enough. Let's put the thank you on the inside. There's a nice thank you. There's a take care of yourself. It's a lovely greeting. And we have a thank you here somewhere. Ah, there it is. I've used it a lot. It's very colorful because I've used it for a lot of different colors. Clean this guy up. Didn't clean the last one to celebrate. Need to clean that guy up too. All right. And we'll put the thank you in Garden Green on the inside. Here we go. And you know, if you goof up your stamping on the inside, you can always do it over with a punch or a die cut and add it right over top. There we go. How nice. Lovely thank you card. Anybody would be so pleased to receive, I know it. And we don't even need to add any pearls because I think it's got enough going on right there like that. All right, so there's my 3 cards here. This was the original one, which is one of the cards in my December Stamp-A-Stack or monthly card class. And then we did this one with lots of popping up on there with the frame florets, and the tea one with Tea Boutique. Thanks for watching. I hope you get some inspiration from these cards. Have a great evening. Bye for now.